Good Talk Radio, provided by and courtesy of Alex Raodriguez, better known by his nickname A-Rod, an A-bomb from A-Rod. So Alex Raodriguez, in a roundtable on Fox, on FS1, was giving advice. They were asked about the panel, the distinguished panel, which included Derek Jeter and Big Papi, and they had A-Rod there. They got as many guys as they could get that made tons of money in the past and put them on television to talk baseball. And so the round-robin topic was the future of Shohei Ohtani in Anaheim and how that was going to go. And A-Rod filled up the content kitty and then went above and beyond the call. So if you didn't see this, he gave advice to the Halos. Maybe you missed it. So with the MLB trade deadline right around the corner, if you look around the corner, you can see it. Yeah, I'm serious. It's right there. Even blind Emmett, the Seahawk fan, can see it. It's that close. It's right there. And so we're not that far away from the trade deadline, and Shohei Ohtani set to become a free agent after the season. He will be no longer contractually obligated to stay with the Angels. So A-Rod has made a proposal that the organization in Anaheim trade Showtime. But not only Showtime. A-Rod said, get rid of all of them. Get rid of Mike Trout. That's right. Yeah. He said it. He said it on television. He said it on FS1. It was broadcast ahead of the Home Run Derby. And we actually, do we have the A-Rod comments? I think we have the A-Rod comments. Just to prove I'm not lying, let's see if we have the A-Rod audio talking about the Angels and what they should do.
The Angels, KB, win a world championship in 5 years.
5 years.
They do this.
Okay.
First, you trade Ohtani.
Yeah.
Then you trade Trout. And you try to get 5 or 6 players, load up with first rounders, and the next thing that you have to do is bring in a guy like Theo Epstein, give him ownership, and let him run the shop. And that move has to come first and then follow up. I don't think you have the time, but that would be the move.
Okay, so he just announced something that's impossible to happen. Okay, but that's fine. We'll go with it anyway. So the question, as we discussed, the question on this one, do you fancy a thought on Alex Raodriguez saying that the Angels will win the World Series if they trade Ohtani and Trout and bring in Theo Epstein as the GM? So I've got Sleeping Beauty's Castle, Sainthood, and House Hunters. And we will combine all of these things together. And we are going to make a spicy hot tamale, which is what Ohtani's going to be over the next couple weeks before the trade deadline. And then as we head into the Hot Stove League way down the line at the end of the year. But to answer the question, you have a thought on A-Rod and his commentary. So Alex Raodriguez, I will give him a gold star. Okay, a little gold star near his name there for an original take. That was an original take by Alex Raodriguez. So you can pump your chest out a little bit if you want. If you're A-Rod, you can flex, you can smile, you can wink at the camera, you can do all of that. And I'll even give you an extra slice of pie at the commissary. That's how great a take that was. But it's not based in reality. That's the problem. Like A-Rod, he's mixing football, basketball, and baseball, and really more, I would say more basketball than football, because, and I know he owns part of the Timberwolves, allegedly, but this would be troubling if you're in Minnesota, because essentially, like, well, just trade everyone and then just get a bunch of draft picks. Does A-Rod understand that draft picks don't often work out the way they're supposed to? Is he aware of that concept? Like, I would be all for it if you were sure you were going to win and get players that were going to dominate, but the way I look at it, this is a Sleeping Beauty's Castle take by A-Rod. What I mean by that is he's living in fantasy land if he thinks it's going to work out that way, and the Angels would be selling for pennies on the dollar. If they were going to trade Ohtani, they should have done it last year at the trade deadline because he had another year and a half to go. They didn't do that. They decided to gamble. And the move here for the Angels is you make your last and final offer, your last, best, and final offer to Ohtani. And if he wants to stay, he'll take it. And if not, you can send him on his merry way. But the idea of the Angels would trade, let's say they traded Ohtani for 7 minor league players and Trout for 5. So under this scenario, they got 12 blue-chip minor league players in return for Trout and Ohtani. We'll just go with us, okay? Just play with us. It's sports radio. So you trade Ohtani and Trout, you get 12 minor league players from the Yankees and the Mets, we'll just say, or the Phillies and the Mets, whatever combination of teams you want. You go to your Baseball America handbook, you go to your nerd websites that grade the minor league players, and every player is going to be an all-around great player and an all-star level pitcher, and this guy throws 1,000 miles an hour, blah, 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 blah. All right, so you read all that stuff. Now, based on, I'm gonna look at this like insurance. You know, the comps in insurance, and the way they do like life insurance is they're betting you're going to live if you're of a certain age, and then when you get older, they're counting on you dying, right? But life insurance is cheaper when you're younger because they think you're going to live. And so you look at the comps on that based on general population, things like that. So of 12 minor league players, right off the top, you trim 6 off. They say they'll be absolute failures, abject failures. So now you're down to 6. Of those 6, maybe 3 of them are average Major League Baseball players. Fringe starter, not an all-star, relief pitcher, maybe out of the middle relief out of the bullpen. So then you've got 3 others. Out of those 3, maybe they're all good. Maybe they're really good. But are they going to win an MVP award? Because Trout and Ohtani have 4 MVPs combined. Are they going to lead a rotation, which Ohtani is doing right now for the Angels? So the chances are slim and nunsky that is going to be the case. And you have the centerpiece of a great lineup. I think the attitude should be, hey, we're going to re-sign. I'm not an Angel fan, but the attitude should be, hey, we're going to keep Ohtani, and all we have to do is fill out the roster. Shouldn't that be easier? Shouldn't it be easier to fill out the roster? I'm talking about getting players around, secondary supporting actors around Ohtani and Trout. Clearly, it hasn't been easy. Those guys have been together for a number of years, and they've failed to do it. They've had multiple executives. They've had multiple managers in Anaheim, and it hasn't worked. And then Theo Epstein, the outside-the-box GM Theo Epstein, who found pay dirt with the Cubs and the Red Sox, who's currently not anywhere in terms of running a team, and so you're just going to give him ownership of a team and knock yourself out on that? Sure, why not? When I first met Theo Epstein, he was an intern for the San Diego Padres. He was handing out press notes at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego when I was doing my thing down there back in the day. I think he's had slightly more success than I've had, but, teach their own. All right, now, meanwhile, how about Pete Alonso making his sales pitch to Shohei Ohtani at the All-Star game to join the Metropolitans? He was making the rounds, doing the interviews, and he made his sales pitch there. He said, not a great sales pitch. He said, it's a great city to live in, talking about the Big Apple there, and Citi Field's a really fun place to play. Really? Okay. That was his sales pitch. That was his sales pitch. Okay. So what is your take on Pete Alonso attempting to recruit Shohei Ohtani to the Mets? So they got to do better than that. That does not budge at all. That does not move the needle at all. So my advice, if I was Pete Alonso, here's my advice to Shohei Ohtani to join the Mets. The guy that owns the team, Stephen Cohen, is worth $17 billion, okay? He will give you a piece of Wall Street, a literal piece of Wall Street. Like the stock market. He will give you some of the stock market that come to New York. We'll get you a place out in Connecticut, out in the sticks. You never have to see a skyscraper other than the back of the limo that will take you to the ballpark. Okay, and the Mets fans are so diabolical that, and they're all over the media, they'll kiss your ass. You'll be on the path to sainthood if you play for the Mets. That's the way that goes. That's the sales pitch. Not New York's a great city and the ballpark's fun. That's not a good sales pitch. You play for the Mets, you win with the Mets, you get canonized. You do. Look, those 86 Mets are a bunch of old dudes now, and they still are worshipped by the Met fan. They're still worshipped. Lenny Dykstra, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, all of those players that were part of Mookie Wilson, part of that 86 Mets. That's a long time ago now. All right, last thing. Let's get to the home run derby. Home run derby in Seattle. How would you rate the home run derby? So I watched the whole thing. Why? There was nothing else to watch. That's why. I had no other options. I guess I could have watched some streaming crap, but I don't know. For some reason, I think I need to have like sports on. So I watched the Home Run Derby. I give it on the Maller report card. I am going to give it a B. I'm giving it a B. I can't give it an A, and I'll tell you why I can't give it an A. I've seen too many home run derbies. I'm too jaded when it comes to the home run derby. I've seen too many of these events. It's lost its charm for me. I don't have the eyes of a child anymore. Boy, I wish I did. I wish I had the hearing of a child. That's what I really wish. That would be nice. And the taste buds. Taste buds die as you get older. Did you know that? That's one of the great things about getting older. You lose your joy of taste. It gets a little worse each year. But anyway, as a cynical and jaded gasbag and blowhard here, I didn't hate the home run derby. I didn't hate it. I was a little, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? I didn't need all of the launch angle and exit velocity. But I guess I'm being old. I don't know. I don't need that. They made a big deal about it, watching the home run derby. Oh, the launch angle on that. Oh, the exit velocity. I'm like, oh, who cares? Who gives a crap? Did it go over the fence or not? So, there you go. And the formula for the home run derby, I'll give this to Major League Baseball. This thing started in 1985 at the Metrodome with Dave Parker winning the home run derby. Here we are all these years later. It's like watching HGTV, love it or list it. They've got this thing down pat. They follow a very strict formula. And every episode, it's like love it or list it, right? Every episode's the same. A couple wants Hillary to renovate their home, and it's got to be within budget. And then David shows a bunch of houses on the market, some over budget, some at budget. And then one person on the show does not want to move, and the other person does want to move. And inevitably, Hillary does not have enough money to fix the house properly. She runs out of money because of some unforeseen, very dramatic problem. The home run derby is similar in the way that it's portrayed here. They've had this head-to-head competition for a number of years. They have the bonus time, which is increasing the drama. The bonus time. And Vladimir Guerrero, the drama was he going to wear out? Is he going to be too tired? Because he had to go back-to-back in the semifinals and then the final round if you're watching that. But it is like House Hunters in many ways, the home run derby. And the other thing about the home run derby, too, which I get a kick out of every year, I'm sure somebody's already writing their column online, their blog, is Vladdy Guerrero set up to fail in the second half because of the pressure of the home run derby. Screw you. Whoever writes that story, screw you. It has been proven that it does not matter. All this is an alibi if Vladdy Guerrero does not perform well. But there have been studies done on players that have won the home run derby, participated in the home run derby. It doesn't mess up your swing. And if it does, you're a dodo bird. So that's on you, right? It's an urban legend. It's been debunked. I realize the man that shot Liberty Valance, when the legend becomes the fact, you go with the legend. I get all that. But, hey, it was fun. Good for Vladdy Guerrero, a bunch of home runs. The show was Julio Rodriguez. He didn't win. It reminds me of Josh Hamilton years ago when he hit a gazillion home runs. I think I was at Yankee Stadium, if I remember. I think it was Yankee Stadium. He had a bunch of home runs, and he didn't win either.